Okay guys, so if you clicked on the link and you downloaded my guide, you'll see, as you can see behind me, that is a list of questions that you should ask yourself as you go through the review process. And this reflects on the easy things that I've mentioned and the more difficult things. So for example, have I communicated my message using strong verbs? This refers to nominalizations, but it also refers to active voice and passive voice structures. So if I've, and this is why in the preparation phase in the last lesson, I had a section about which strong verbs should I use. Make sure you use those strong verbs and don't fall into the trap of using nominalizations. Those strong verbs will help the reader to understand why I'm writing and what they have to do. And of course, indirect question forms will help you out there. Could you please do this? Could you please send me that? Whatever it might be. Now, earlier on, I was talking about things which are easy and difficult. Here, I'm going to talk about things which are specific and relating to the message. So, have I used any legal prepositional phrases? And to help you with this, have I made a list of those that I most commonly use? So if you review your writing, and over the course of a couple of weeks or a month, you should get into the habit of writing down the legal prepositional phrases that you habitually use in order for, in the event that. And then if you write them down, it'll be much easier for you to see them and then remove them from your writing. Similarly, in your industry, in your area of work, there might be common nominalizations. For example, in the legal English world, amendments. So can amendments be changed into amend? If so, then let's do that. Legalese, of course. I've said in the legalese videos right at the beginning of the course, herein, hereinafter, herein before, thereafter, whatever it might be, should not be used in your texts, legal, business, or otherwise. Make sure you use them. Make sure you avoid them. Let me just underline that. Make sure you avoid them, not use them. Definitely not use them. Have I used words which you really shouldn't use? For example, I would appreciate it if, please advise, and or, provided that, or shall, or even revert. These are words which have got no place in your business English or legal English writing. Do I have uniformity, abbreviations, and definitions? You can see here that this is the form that I commonly use with definitions. Without the, and making sure that the inverted commas are both high as they should be in English. I know in Europe, very commonly, that first inverted comma is in a lower position. And of course, have I used a spell checker? Have I used Grammarly if I can? And then think about the message. Do I need to use the passive voice? If there's a business context to use it, then please use it. As I said, don't not use the passive voice because it's the passive. The passive is a grammar structure. It has its place, and we need to use it when it's appropriate to use it. If you want to review the rules, please check out my video on the passive. Where are my long sentences, and can I shorten them? So could do a quick visual check, and this will get better, faster, the more that you do it. Try to identify those long sentences and just think, okay, what's the message there? And can it be broken down into shorter messages? If it's possible to do that, then go ahead and do that. Is there a logical structure through my document? So this is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And the end, is it a functional end? Does it clearly tell the reader what I want them to do? Or does it summarize in some way why I am writing? Have I emphasized the points that I want to emphasize? This goes back to the planning process and your strong verbs and your messages in the active voice. You've got to make sure that you've communicated those messages, as I said earlier on, at the beginning of the sentences, at the beginning of the paragraphs, not lose them in the middle, okay? And those strong words, the words which are going to leave an impact, those have got to be at the end of the sentence or near the end of the sentence, or at the end of the paragraph or near the end of the paragraph. Have I thought about the business context and what the reader might want? Okay, so business context, I asked you earlier on to think about relationships, B2B, B2C, but I also want you to think about what does the reader want from this piece of writing. So in that process, very often I see people say, in the email I wrote last week, or in the document I sent to you 2 months ago, okay? The reader doesn't want to have to go and search for that information, so present that information again in your email. It might cost you a few extra seconds to do that. It will make the reader's life a lot easier and therefore potentially make your writing a lot more successful. And then lastly, the more you do this, the better it will get. Is my message easy to understand? Memorable? Have I used document design in the appropriate way? Is it valuable? Will the reader read this and think, this is a good piece of writing, it will help me? And actionable. So is there a clear end, a functional end to your writing? Does it explain how you want the reader to react? Now, I know this will take a little bit of time for you to get used to. Clearly, it will. If you've not reviewed your writing before or not planned your writing before, then this process or extra process will take you some time to get used to it. And I'm not going to hide that fact. But the more you practice this, the better you will get at reviewing your writing and planning your writing. And therefore, after a period of time, the better your writing will become. The planning will be better, which means that your first draft will be better, your reviewing will be more focused, and then you make fewer and fewer changes to that draft. So at the beginning, it might take you a number of drafts to get the message in the way that you want it to be written. After a month or after 2 months, then your writing after the first draft is nearly there. And then the reviewing process is that much faster because then you're aware of your habitual mistakes. So then you'll start producing written content faster, it will be more effective, and you'll be able to get it out to whoever you're writing to in a faster way. And of course, ultimately, your writing will be that much more successful.